Hey guys, what's up? It's Carmela Maniac. If you're new to my channel, sit down, chill, and hang out with me for a little bit because today I'm going to be breaking down and reviewing Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo. And this song is off of her soon-to-be released album called You Look Pretty Sad for a Girl Who's So in Love. And before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys to maybe hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and or vice versa, even if you don't agree with my take, because we can all agree to disagree. Hopefully. And you know, I'm not saying I'm an expert on the song. I'm just giving you my honest, personal opinion on the song. Now, if you don't know, or you haven't been watching my channel for very long, I can get interested in a song by listening to just the first few seconds of it, if it has cool sounds. And this song, let me tell you, starts off with some cool sounds. And they're mainly electronic ones. We've got a kind of pulsing synth bass that goes between being soft and loud in a very predictable pattern. And it also has kind of like an 8-bit sound to it. And what I mean by an 8-bit sound is like, imagine an older video game like Street Fighter. You know how it has that really pixelated look? Well, in audio, it's basically the same thing. It's like, imagine the audio coming from that game and it has kind of like a degraded sound to it. That's like an 8-bit sound. And it's really a cool effect. And then on top of that, we have this very wistful and reminiscent synth that is following the same kind of pattern as the pulsing synth bass, but it's more melodic. But together they make this really cool, wistful intro. So I praise Olivia for being open-minded enough to have this intro that's filled with a lot of creative sounds. And I don't know why, but I'm getting kind of like a childlike vibe from it, like a dream of like a child's playground, but a very good dream of it. I don't know, something like that, but I'm not quite sure. But as it goes on, it starts to sound a little bit more normal, like a pop song you would hear on the radio whenever. Anyway, when Olivia starts singing, she matches that kind of wistful, dreamlike quality that the intro has because she's singing with her head voice, so she's already very breathy. Although sometimes it's really hard to tell, so she could just be singing in her chest voice and we don't really know, but she's still singing very gently, so it almost sounds like she's singing in her head voice. So basically, same thing, but not. Regardless of however she's singing, she is panned to both the left and the right sides, making her sound like she's coming from multiple different directions when you're listening to her, making her sound very unnatural and ethereal and washy and like she's coming from a dream, but in a good way.
I know that the bar closes at 11.
And you know, I really hate to say it, but I liked this song until the chorus dropped. And now it sounds like a Chappell Roan song, specifically the song Pink Pony Club. And I will be honest, and you can come for me as much as you want, within reason obviously, but I was never really much of a fan of Chappell Roan, especially her song Pink Pony Club. But anyway, this song by Olivia Rodrigo has almost like the same melody as Pink Pony Club. And it also doesn't help that Olivia Rodrigo is singing a good amount of high notes in her chorus, which definitely gives the vibe of Pink Pony Club. So that's why they sound similar. Anyway, like I said, not really a fan of the chorus.
Pressed up in the bathroom, lying you looking like an angel on the
I do, however, kind of enjoy the vocal harmonies that Olivia has added on top of herself here in the chorus, but at the same time, the vocal harmonies kind of annoy me. She's got like 5 different harmonies on her, ranging from notes way below her actual melody, ranging to notes above her melody. She's got like a whole choir on her, but they're blended so well and to the point where they're very subtle and they're also turned down a lot, so it just sounds like she has a really, really God-given big vocal presence. It's fake. I will say though about the chorus, even though I don't like it, it does a very interesting thing, which is that it builds up throughout the chorus instead of it building up to the chorus and then the chorus just hits and it's like this big moment. It actually builds up inside the chorus. And it does that by a gradual incline of the rhythmical hits. So whether that be drums, kicks, basses, whatever, it just hits and then it starts to hit faster and faster and faster until the climax is reached of the chorus. It's almost exactly like what you would expect to find in a build-up in an electronic song. Anyway, all the pressure releases once Olivia sings the line that includes the title of her song, Drop Dead. And it's like the last line of the chorus. So it's like this big old build-up, releases, all within the same chorus. It is, I mean, I will say it is quite a clever take on a chorus. I will give her that, but I still don't like it. I will say also that I did like the violin parts that came in for the instrumental after the chorus, and that may be just because I wasn't expecting them. But it did give the song kind of like an ABBA disco vibe to it, which was interesting. And it's also interesting because I know Chappell Roan's music is very inspired by the 80s, and because this reminds me of Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan, whose music is inspired by the 80s, this song almost feels like it's inspired by the 80s, so it's interesting that there's almost a little bit of a disco element there, which I know is the 70s, but you know. I also did appreciate how Olivia Rodrigo tried to switch things up. Like for the second verse, she basically almost raps it. And it's a cool switch up. And during this part, she's also panned to the left and the right sides, making her sound like an unnatural yet trendy angel.
And I feel like I might throw up. Left hook, right punch to the gut. You're so pretty, boy.
Now, the only thing that was different about the second chorus versus the first chorus is that the second chorus did not have the same kind of build-up element that the first chorus had, which is enough of a change, I guess, just because, yeah, it is technically bigger since it's at full build-up the whole time instead of going from 0 to 100. But at the point that I was writing this, the choruses were just kind of pissing me off, annoying me a little bit. However, exclamation point, the bridge is definitely something that stood out to me and is a very different part of the song. It's also my second favorite part of the song after the creative intro because it's different, stands out. It's got a really cool distorted guitar underneath it, which is giving the song much needed grit and texture. And then Olivia has this kind of like chant thing over it, which is cool since it stands out and it's more down to earth, it's more rooted, it feels better. And here I 100% support the vocal harmonies that she has put over herself here because it's basically just two vocal parts. It's much prettier and there's not too many harmonies, so it just feels better, it just sounds better. And then the second half of the bridge happens and multiple other vocal harmonies are added on top of her and it's ruined. I'm being dramatic, but also not. I guess there is such a thing as too many harmonies, but I didn't think that was possible. However, I will say about these vocal harmonies, it does give a nice sense of build-up into the instrumental before the last chorus, as it should be. And these harmonies, I'll admit, are a little bit more pleasant to listen to and less annoying to listen to than the ones in the choruses. Now, there are definitely cool parts in this song. They're just not widespread enough to actually make a difference. And that sounds very critical and rough, but again, my ears hear what they hear. So I'd love to point them out, even if they don't really affect the entire song. The first one is when Olivia Rodrigo sings the last line of the second chorus. She goes up and down with her voice, kind of like this, to create a kind of squiggly line with her voice. Just imagine vibrato, but slowed down, like to half of its speed. I don't know, I just find it very pretty, and it's also great that the rest of the song follows her in terms of the melodic elements. It's also great that some of the melodic elements of the song right there follow her in her squiggly line. It's very pretty, and it stands out. The second small part that stands out to me is in the instrumental before the last calmer chorus. And this instrumental mainly centers around a distorted guitar solo. And this distorted guitar solo has, I don't know what you would call it, maybe like a chromatic walk down right before it goes into the last chorus. And it transitions us perfectly into it. I don't know, it's really cool, it stands out, it makes your ears perk up. It's really cool, it's different, it's creative, and so naturally I like it. And I'm pointing it out to you. I I don't know. As a whole though, this song felt like it was on a tight leash the entire time. Like I said, the only creative and cool parts that stood out to me were the beginning and those two little parts that I was talking about. It sounds like it was trying very hard to be a popular and trendy song, and that could be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. I personally have a feeling that this song is going to be very popular, and that's that. All the power to Olivia Rodrigo for being able to tap into that. But personally, I don't really like the song, and I don't think anyone's gonna change my mind on that, unless I really am just missing a big part of it. Because you know, I used to not like metal music or like hard rock music until I took the time to understand it, and then I understood it and it made sense and I liked it. So maybe I'm just not understanding Olivia Rodrigo's music. I don't know. So I'm gonna give this song a 7 out of 10 on the Mellometer because it was not my favorite song, but it did have some cool parts to it. I wanted more from her though. You know, I wanted something oomph. You know, like even Madison Beer, who I would kind of put in the same category as Olivia Rodrigo, has some good music. She's got some oomph to her stuff, you know? Like Follow the White Rabbit, love it, beautiful, best song ever. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, or even if you didn't, agree to disagree, remember? Please consider subscribing to the channel. Tell me what you guys thought of Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo in the comments below. Keep listening. I'll talk to you guys later. Did you subscribe yet? Even though I didn't like this song either.